Hi, my name is Scott Brightwell. I'm an advisory solutions engineer with the VMware Tanzu Alliances team. Today, I'd like to walk you through how our modern DevSecOps portfolio, VMware Tanzu, fits within the broader VMware multi-cloud story. The origin of the VMware Tanzu portfolio begins with modern applications and everything that comes with their delivery. We need to find ways to accelerate how applications are taken from concept through to end user consumption. Containers came along and helped make delivery of modern microservices-based applications a reality. Containers are the new contract between developers and operators on how to deploy applications. Kubernetes is the container orchestrator that won. It is the layer that provides a common way to deploy containerized applications across every vSphere and cloud provider. But with this additional workload type came the complexity of managing both VMs and containers, and 10 times the quantity of containers to manage across all the clouds. When looking at the problem space, we break this down into three main challenges to solve for: build, run, and manage modern applications deployed to any cloud on top of Kubernetes. The VMware Tanzu portfolio is designed to help bridge the gap from business idea to the end user, but refocusing efforts on the DevSecOps tools that IT needs to engage with and the practices that speed business value by standardizing this path to production. Let's take a few minutes to step through it. Modern business ideas are realized through software. The developer begins to express those business ideas into code. This is where the build process begins. VMware provides commercial support for the Java Spring ecosystem. Whether it is application refactoring or net new applications, Java Spring is one of the most popular frameworks to help provide that quick development loop. While we provide commercial support for the Java Spring language framework throughout the Tanzu portfolio, we also support all the modern cloud-capable languages. A special note is our open source steel toe library for .NET applications that provides cloud-native capabilities to .NET developers. In just about every organization, automation through patterns like CI/CD pipelines has become the key to driving the rapid innovation that is needed to reach the speed that businesses expect and require. Instead of burdening developers with the responsibility of building and hardening their container images and maintaining these complex CI pipelines, we introduce tools like Tanzu Build Service. TBS automates the application build process and the delivery of secure container images, adding consistency and visibility for the entire organization. We start from the source code, detecting the language used and the build requirements, check for existing cached content, build the application artifacts if needed, and export the layers of components to a container image. We support all the common language frameworks in this process. The resulting container image keeps the layers swappable, allowing us to rebuild in seconds. To rebase our application layer on an updated base image as needed anytime you want. Imagine a critical vulnerability that gets patched in the base container image you use to build all of your apps. Tanzu Build Service can rebase all the application layers, the higher level applications, onto the new base container image in minutes. Because TBS is there building all of the applications in your environment, it knows which ones need to be updated with the new base image. Your security teams will love this. From here, we look to store the container image as an immutable artifact ready for deployment, and we store this into a container registry. Harbor is our commercially supported open source solution in the VMware Tanzu portfolio. It provides security scanning, image signing, Helm chart support, replication, and more. Your developer teams might already be paying for an expensive alternative, which is fine, but Harbor is a world-class container registry. Modern applications are often composed of many different components and tools used to maintain the environment, most of which you don't develop yourself. Many of them, off-the-shelf, open source elements are used to compose the overall solution. Instead of relying on untrusted sources like Docker Hub or other public registries where the origin and authenticity of the container cannot be validated, Tanzu Application Catalog provides a pre-built portfolio of secure container images for many common open source tools that developers rely on. We have become the stewards of these images, providing security patching and curated Helm charts with every release to the project to help with development of these open source components on any Kubernetes platform. For those who are looking for a database or As a service type experience or any other data services needs, Tanzu Data Services is capable and available to help accelerate the delivery and availability of database resources to match the speed of deployment. We provide a Kubernetes operator that allows the deployment of Postgres and MySQL instances through standard Kubernetes YAML. We provide commercial support for those and Gemfire in-memory caching data grid, Tanzu RabbitMQ as an enterprise message broker, and of course, Tanzu Greenplum is our advanced data warehouse solution for analytics. The products in the Tanzu portfolio I've discussed so far are great ways platform operations teams can provide real value to the app dev side of the house. These tools offload much of the toil of maintaining application build processes and allow the curation and standardization of the approved tools to be used across the DevOps teams. Kubernetes has become the standard IaaS for running containers. Having built our application artifacts, it's time to run them in production. We include Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, our own CNCF conformant Kubernetes distribution to provide a secure and maintainable Kubernetes offering. When you think of Kubernetes, often overlooked are the additional components and services that provide a useful platform experience. Tanzu Kubernetes Grid provides those as well. We productize the deployment and ongoing lifecycle management of Kubernetes clusters, freeing operators from the science projects that come from resume-driven designs. Now that we have a destination to run our apps, we can get to the delivery of our services to our end users. As you scale your development, cluster sprawl becomes the next challenge. Running a single Kubernetes cluster isn't so bad, but how do you manage a fleet? Tanzu Mission Control is our centralized portal and control plane to handle many of the common management challenges we see at scale. The goal of Mission Control is to provide the same simplicity of control that you experience when running a single cluster, but in a way that works with your entire fleet of clusters. TMC becomes the central point of control for policies, identity, compliance, auditing, backups. Under TMC, you can provision new clusters or manage existing Kubernetes clusters, even if they are not Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, allowing the same consistent management experience no matter what Kubernetes distribution you may be using today. Next, having run a fleet of Kubernetes clusters with applications deployed on them, the landscape has changed now in terms of what we need in terms of SRE-based monitoring tools, application tracing and logs to really expose the metrics of what's going on with applications back to the team. Many open source metrics and monitoring logging tools have come along to try and fill this gap. We include Tanzu Observability into the platform to make that monitoring and logging approach, take that monitoring and logging approach one step further. Observability takes things to the next level, providing a time-aligned enterprise-level picture of what's happening with your applications and the underlying infrastructure in which they exist. Imagine having a machine learning engine correlating the number of t-shirts sold within your app per hour to the latency between your microservices through the Kubernetes metrics into the vSphere and VM-related resource consumption statistics, down to the temperature of your CPUs coming from the iDRAC controller of your Dell servers. It's a time-aligned, holistic, enterprise-level dashboard of everything going on from your app all the way to your infrastructure. And yes, with all the plugins, it works in the public cloud too. So we take advantage of all the data aggregation that's capable within the SaaS application from all levels of your enterprise application stack to learn what good looks like for your applications. As applications become more complex and distributed with new microservices deployed across clusters and across clouds, new challenges arise delivering those to the end user customers. Tanzu Service Mesh is our multi-cloud, multi-cluster solution to the challenges of running service meshes. TSM manages composing, exposing, securing services between each other and with the end user. Tanzu Service Mesh simplifies the management of federated service meshes across clusters, which can often be as complex as running Kubernetes itself. This allows apps to be deployed across clusters that are running anywhere, any cloud, within the data center, and out to the edge. While you can build these CI/CD workflows yourself from the myriad of components that are available in the Kubernetes ecosystem, your staff may not be ready to take on deploying, configuring, managing, maintaining a complex ecosystem of open source and commercial products. But doing these kinds of science projects might not be part of your core business. The VMware Tanzu portfolio is available to help your organization standardize the deployment and commercial support for the open source tools you need to be successful faster. We enable your entire organization to work together, meeting their distinct needs within each team, all working toward a more agile and DevSecOps centered approach. VMware Tanzu meets the needs of every team, helping to bring the focus back to the outcomes of the business at hand, speeding business ideas expressed in software down the path of production into the hands of your customers as fast as possible, doing that securely and taking advantage of running across every cloud. Thank you. Have a great day.